Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I can take the Neopets thing down. Whoops. I forgot about that. Because, in fact, we have Phobies, not Neopets, on the docket for tonight. What's good, chat? How's everybody doing out there? Hope your weekend is going well. My Saturday, I don't want to say it too loud, but my Saturday was all right. It went pretty well. I had a pretty good Saturday. Ended up with a larger than it probably should have been toy haul for today. Maybe more on that later. But I had an enjoyable day overall. And in fact, there apparently was a lot of enjoyable games in Phobies because normally we get a few highlights and then I have to select games from Monster of the Week. But this time, there were a lot of people submitting games that said they wanted highlights. So we're going to jump in and take a peek at what people submitted. Now, before we get into that, I of course have to let everybody know that I am part of the content affiliate program. That means that the Phobies team does, in fact, give me coffee for producing Phobies content. Hey, how about that? That's good timing, isn't it? So they give me coffee for producing Phobies content, and they're also providing the prizes for Monster of the Week. If you're interested in playing in some free Phobies tournaments, and there's a chance, well, not a chance, you just get coffee for showing up. As long as you complete the event, you're going to get some coffee. Hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. The link, of course, is in the description. I am thinking about maybe changing some formats up, so let me know what your feedback is for the events as you're playing them. But with that, let's jump into the games. What's good, chat? How's everybody doing? BVZ? What's good, my guy? What's good? What is good? All right, so I got to switch the monitor that I have this on so I can actually see these things at the same time. So we're just going to kind of go down the list because no joke, there's an enormous amount of games. It's actually, it almost feels like everybody submitted every single game as a highlight, so I don't know why that's the case. But again, I'm going to try and do the hide the spoilers thing, so you're going to be able to probably figure it out if you're paying attention, but we'll see. Although we did have somebody... Alright, this one's going to be interesting. Alright, so believe it or not, but both players submitted this game as a highlight. We got PVZ, we have DRH, and I'm confident because I'm not looking at my obsession that I'm pointing the wrong way. But either way, PVZ in the blue trunks, DRH in the orange trunks. Let's get going. We're here on Muso Mia, which I still keep forgetting to look up what that actually means. It was one of the newer maps, and I feel like this one's probably better than... I'm not gonna lie, this is a weird map pool again. I chose to do 3 large maps and 1 small map for this map rotation because most of the small maps were just unwashed cheeks. They were bad, and I didn't want to subject people to it. I unfortunately did subject people to a rather long delay for Event B, so my bad. Had some real-life stuff I was taking care of, so... either way, we do get an early Poison Ivy out of our orange player, notably sporting the Temptress avatar, because I guess they hate themselves, so they play Temptress. I don't know. Not really clear on that one. You got me. Fairly standard, although, again, PVZ, what are you doing? My brother in Christ. People, stop with the early booms. Just stop. Make it... Okay, so here's the biggest argument that I have against boom. You're just... It's not impossible. Because nothing is impossible, right? But it is just not going to happen that you're going to get, a powerful boom play early in the game, right? And if that's not going to happen, force your opponent to do something like this. So they need to spend multiple attacks. In this particular case, our orange player, DRH, can just go Poison Ivy, or they can pop it with this. The point is that a cowbell, a razor mouth, a boomer, a whatever, Henrietta take multiple attacks in order to eliminate them. Boom takes 1, maybe. So, not a huge fan. Now, we do get... early takedown on the cassowary. Obviously, you don't love to see that. Imagine, for a moment, if the boom was any other 1 key. Would then have taken down, in conjunction with the Cassowary Leap, the opposing 1 key, the Cowbell, and then the Cassowary could have gotten away to live. Yeah, you would have lost your 1 key and just traded. What is happening? Stop! You know there's a trap there. What are you doing? I mean, you don't know there's a trap there, but, like, you know there's a trap there. Let's be real. All right, Dear H, going with the Puff as the anti-Frosty. Let's see what happens here. God, I smell hot dogs. I don't know if I'm having a stroke right now. I thought it was toast, not hot dogs, but I smell hot dogs right now. I don't know what that means. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. What? 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 That really just happened? Maybe I am having a stroke. Because I'm pretty sure I just saw Gonzo juice a Henrietta to kill a Droney, and, like... Sure. You know, I mean, honestly, like, it's a fine play. I think it's reasonable, because you're probably going to get this cooldown back before, like, it really matters. So I don't think it's unreasonable. It's just that is redonkulous. Like, how often do you see that happen? However, our blue player here now has Akira on the board in conjunction with Phantom and Frosty, but notably beyond that trifecta, 7 keys and a Snowball and a Dream. 17 keys available for our orange player. Hashtag just saying. Flesh Crawler is the play. I mean... Obviously, our orange player is just beating feet to line up against the wall. Yeah, the Russell actually can put in a lot of work here. So here's a scenario. We'll channel our inner Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy. Here's a guy that's like gonna put in a lot of work here. I don't love this Akira right now. What the hell? What? I mean, I guess. Where are we going? Oh, you can get the heart. Ooh, okay, I take it back. Yo, that's a good Akira. You can't snowball that, though. Please don't snowball that. Where was the snowball to start? Like, this was actually a really good Akira into Frosty play. Like, that's pretty sick. There's at least 2 traps floating around out there, so you do have to be a little careful of that. You're lucky you didn't trigger any. But you got a diseased Puff now that's frozen. Can you burn the heart down? I don't know that you can, but, like, that's actually a pretty sick play. I don't think you should have... Okay, so hold on. The heart's at 52. I think you need to go heart here. So even... Let's assume for the moment... We'll let it play out. Let's assume for the moment that, like, they're gonna thaw. Which they are. Like, I don't think they can kill you fast enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I guess it's possible because they do have the Gonzo, so, like, they could set up a big Blom with the Puff. But I feel as though you could just burn down the heart. You have a panic point advantage. Just race them. You're like, all right, you got to stop me. This is where bad things happen, is because you killed something, and now you're now vulnerable to whatever comes out with however many. Obviously, they had at least 9 keys, but, like, there were a lot of keys. I think you don't phobie fight here. I think you just go heart and just kill him. Just win the game. was a pretty sick play, though. I was just having fun this match. That's fair. That's allowed. But I think, like, that was a missed opportunity. I think you had a really solid chance. Like, I'd have to sit there and calculate the math. But I think there's a good chance you win this game if you just go hard. Like, just completely ignore all their stuff. You have a couple of AoE. Like, I thought you were going to send the Flesh Crawler in and then do Tentacles and then AoE off of the heart to chip Russell with the Akira. And then, like, oh, they thaw. Like, you get another turn of attacks before they thaw, I think. I wanted to try out Akira and got my wish that this was fun. Yeah, Akira is fun. If you're using the Akira. Akira's kind of a nightmare on the other side, but it is what it is. Dear H, scraping by the skin of their teeth. I mean, look at this. 3,400 health on this heart. I think you could have got there. Down goes Flesh Crawler. Down goes PVZ. GG. Well played. Well played. That was a really cool game. Definitely a great play with that Akira. Because we were watching in real time, I just honestly didn't see it. I'd like to believe I would see it if I paused and looked at board state more closely, but that was pretty good. That was real cool. Alright, chat. Let's see. What do we got here? So, like I said, both players submitted that game. People are being ding-dongs and not putting stuff where it's supposed to be. Excuse me. It was a fun day today, but it was a long day. So now we're back. We got Alistair. We got PVZ. Let's see what's going on. When I saw this match, I assume comp completed. It made me remember that coffee is my only motivation to play in the tournaments and challenging strong players whenever shows up, but not Alien not here. I mean, that's the point of competition, right? Like, you want to see strong plays. You want to challenge yourself and win. Oh, composition. Fair. Turning the game sound down just a touch. That is an incredibly early Akira, but PVZ apparently just got Akira, so look, we all did it. We all got Akira and then just slammed it really fast in a bunch of games. The droney play is questionable. The Gravedigger one even more so. What's interesting is this map among high-level players, this bottom panic point seems to, like, never get taken. It's just everybody just pushes up to the top and then they just fight up there. No one ever takes the bottom. Not even with, like, a flyer or something. It's weird. Little creepy action to follow things up. The Pescetti is weird, but I kind of get it. You know, like, you get a decent disease on the Akira. This is a 5-to-1 panic point advantage by our orange player. A little spooky scary. Smiley. Double disease. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Especially this early, it means that PVZ has the opportunity to just kind of, like... Okay, for a second I thought Happy wasn't going to die, and, like, that's just a mistake. I don't know about the... Why the glob into this? That doesn't even make sense. What is happening? Smiley that fast is really... I think you need Smiley earlier rather than later. The longer you wait for Smiley, I think the worse it is. The problem is I don't think... Like, I assume the Smiley is supposed to be another anti-Akira, but you already have the Pescetti. And it's like, so now you're sinking 11 keys in. Neither Phobie is very good. And your opponent still has a bunch of slots... like, Phobie slots to be played, like, they haven't maxed out, and a bunch of keys, so, like, they could just slam mechs, but then they went glob, so, like, this is just... There are things happening. There are things happening. I don't know that I agree with any of these things. In fact, I'm confident I do not. I can't even imagine if it was, like, me who faced me. Alright, I know there's more to that sentence, but, like, what? Smiley's so fast, it's easy to take care of. The thing is, yeah, I know. Oh, faced him? Okay, that makes more sense. So, I think the issue is, like, Smiley probably just is not very good here. I mean, it gets the glob here, so I guess if you can trade the glob for the Smiley, that's not bad. All right, so is the plan you've activated my trap card and now Onion Boy is live? Is that was the plan all along? All right, this has happened once before, I think. But if glob something, like the Smiley, and then you Akira pull, does the Smiley end up re-globbed? I'm pretty sure it does, but, like, I don't remember. I didn't drink enough water today, chat, so, like, my sinuses are now bothering me. I did almost get in my 10,000 steps today. It's a 4 key for a 5 key. I mean, it's fine, like, that trade. But again, I don't understand why the glob even showed up at all. Alright, so we're just allowing Akira to get diseased here. We're also... Wait, oh no, it's only at the end of Alistair's turn. And the Smiley's dead. Okay, so this is fine. The Daisy's fine. Although I don't know if you'd get diseased anyway. Because, like, isn't the Smiley, like, not technically on the board? Glob is special. Sure. So we are getting, like, this is a lot of heart pressure here. We're only halfway through the game. Only halfway through the game here. What is the point of this Pescetti if it is not to disease Akira? I mean, I get not wanting to have it die, but, like, what is the point? I gotta let the games play through, because we have too many games to go through tonight. Do I want to know the answer to this, Atona? What is the point of this Pescetti is the most childlike question I've ever heard. To be fair, yeah, you know, you're not wrong. That Razor Mouth on the panic point is one turn too late. Could it have even gotten there before that? There are so many things, like, I could spend all day, all night, pointing out everything in this game, and we're just not... I guess we could be about that. We could be about that life. Pescetti is here to get... I don't know if... I highly, highly doubt that Frenemies games have anything to do with win rates. I know you're joking around, Master Dark, but, like... They should not count Frenemies games, because... Although it would make sense to some degree, because Frenemies games set to level 1 or something like that, but, like... Odds are in your frenemies games, you're just tooling around trying stuff out, right? A dinosaur made of glass is Pyrex. Ah! 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 Well played. Well played. So, our orange player, Alistair, here, is applying an enormous amount of panic point pressure this entire game. I gotta give him credit, despite, like, some of the other weird plays. And I just now noticed this joke doesn't work for 90% of people. I feel like every joke doesn't work for 90% of people, right? Because they're gonna be contextual no matter what. Especially if it's a play on words, right? 1,400 health on the heart. Is this the play? Seemingly not. Wait, what is happening? That was like a huge amount of damage you had to sink into that freaking Raucous. Stabilizing the panic points, however. What is this Yeti doing? Like, why is this Yeti here? I'm asking why so many times. That should be a counter I have on the screen for every game. How many times I ask why something happens? Because I feel as though there's a correlation between how many times I ask why and the absurdity of said game. 550 health on the heart. Yeah, I agree, Master Dark. But that's literally the argument I make about the ladder. Is that the ladder game data, in the aggregate, is, like, you can get general trends, but, like, most of it's nonsense. I imagine you get Akira'd into oblivion here, right? Like, you Akira, you kill Giggles and Gravedigger. If you even have to do that. You don't even have to do that, lol. He would literally have won if he took a panic point sooner with the Razor Mouth. Yes and no. So, mathematically, yes. No, because I would like to believe that PVZ would have made moves sooner. This Akira has been on the board since literally turn 2. It is yet to activate. Ladder is already biased by level difference coming into the play and changing some winning scenarios into a losing. Yeah, it's... Ladder is a disaster. There's just no two ways about it. The game is over at this point, for the record. It was over a few turns ago. All you gotta do is not let things connect with your heart. Shouldn't really be that challenging at this stage. In fact, you could literally body block out the Pescetti. You know what's funny? Is the Pescetti could have gotten a ranged disease kill on the heart. But Panic Point Advantage Blue means that even recapping this point doesn't quite do it for our orange player. They are electing to run away because reasons. My sinuses are all messed up, Chad. It's like my nose is super itchy, my eyes feel swollen. That's why I'm going to be, like, squinting at the screen. I also am going to be squinting at the screen out of confusion, because if the games continue like this, I'm going to be very tired, even more tired by the end of the night. GG. Well played. Definitely using your heart health as a resource, we can say that much. Very well played. I can definitely say there were just some decisions made in that game. Like, some decisions were made. Where is this game? I think it's this one. All right, we got Dear H, we got Lord Shinra X, we got Red Rum. I didn't get a single pull that match. Yeah, that's why I was pointing that out earlier. Like, I get it if Alistair had taken the panic point sooner, but like the poll was active the entire game. So like at any point, things could have been wildly different. To be honest, the only way I could say a relevant skill indicator in ladder is player being underleveled and still being among the best ranked. That's not even a good indicator, necessarily. So it's entirely possible that they are outplaying everybody. But I can promise you that if I'm out-leveling somebody by an enormous amount, I am not paying attention. I showed it on stream tons of times. Where I'm like, and I've lost to people because of it, because I was just dicking around and didn't, like, pay attention. How many of those games are they winning? Like, how many are quote-unquote earned wins? And how do you tell that? You can't. Because is the other person who's over-leveled playing to the best of their ability, and therefore they still lost despite the advantage? Or did they lose because they just didn't give a shit, and it's like, whatever, I'll just fling things, and 99.9% of the time, that's good enough. Don't get me wrong, I get what you're getting at. Or I understand what you're getting at, that if you're under-leveled and you consistently beat people that are over-leveled than you, compared to you, that's probably an indicator that you're a strong player. Doesn't necessarily mean that you are, because ladder is not a good indicator of skill. It gives you a rough gauge. I was actually thinking about this in a different context the other day. For large-scale events, we're talking thousands, tens of thousands, millions of players. How would you gotta, like, you can't do enough tournaments. It's not possible. So what you do is you have your ladder, and then you have, like, a threshold cut off and say, okay, everybody who's top 1,000, top whatever, then gets put into some sort of playoff system to figure it out. 1,000 would still be a lot, but, like, you get the idea. But even then, you're always going, because the reason I was thinking about it was tiebreakers. And that's the problem, is you're still always going to have tiebreakers to then determine where the cutoff is. Because, like, on any ladder system, no matter where you chop it, is number 5 on the ladder today, like arena ladder, whoever's number 5, are they that much better than number 6? Is number 10 immensely better than number 11? Is number 99, like, leagues ahead of number 100? And you can keep doing this, because the whole point is that it's a spectrum. And we're talking, like, strata here. We're not talking, like, there generally is not a huge gulf between spot A and spot B on the ladder. So we got a bad omen going on. We got a little innocuous action going on out of Lord Shinra. Not surprising. Not surprising. It's a bold move there. Creeping in, powering down the old Gravedigger. So we're going to have to get a retreat here from Shinra. I think this is a good push from Dear H, because Shinra can't really repel this easily. Oh, we're going to do it, though. 7 keys in 2 spots. You can't... Wait, what? There's no way you lived through 3 hits. Can you kill this Jin Sting? Oh, okay, yeah. This is... I didn't think you could kill the Jin Sting. But it's just enough with the fire damage and the power damage. Plus, you get the body blocks here. All right. Innocuous is cooking. Or, I guess, Jin Sting is cooking. Depending on your perspective. Maybe it's true. Both are true from the same perspective. Nah, whatever. Semantics. tournaments are way better to know who's better at a game compared to ladder by far. 100%. It's always true. Because you'd rather have two people play against each other and do it. Now, ideally, we would do larger, longer events to really determine that, but the logistics thereof just can't work. Like, I had a bunch of people today complaining about, you know, like, they finished the tournament at really late their time. And I can absolutely understand it, I can absolutely respect it, but I can only run events at the times that are convenient for me. Moly Bully. Get crapped on. Get hot dogged. Since now that's a thing on the channel. Russell! Wait, why are we rustling? Also, I just realized that the notification sound doesn't go off anymore. I'm gonna have to fix that. I gotta make a note of that. It doesn't go off for me. It probably goes off for you guys. It's just fun. Fair. Minotaur coming down. We really should have paid more attention to this game because, like, this is actually a very interesting brawl in this game and very scrappy. Like, the fact that K9000, Moly Bully, and Minotaur showed up and beat an Innocuous, I feel like that's notable. Minotaur's pretty good now. Minotaur's been good. I honestly think Minotaur is one of those things. This has come up in other games before, where a particular game piece is powerful, but everybody, like, pretty much the entire player base thinks it's bad. So, what the devs do is they buff it. And they continue to buff it until the player base realizes that it's good, verging on broken now, and then they roll it back. I don't think Minotaur's at the verging on broken stage, but it's definitely good, and has been for some time. I think people just are recognizing it now. The buffs, of course, didn't hurt, but it is what it is. Alright. What do we got next? So yeah, we definitely should have paid attention to that game more. Yeah, that last one would be good to go back and watch again, but we got the infamous duo here, apparently. Those are the notes for this game, we'll see. Minotaurs, I assume that's supposed to be no longer a phobie. That's surprising to see now. Microscopic got a rise in usage, too. Microscopic I haven't really seen. I don't think you're wrong. I think Microscopic has shown up more. It did right after the patch, because I distinctly remember reviewing somebody's game, and... Why? Is everybody going Poison Ivy on this map now? I mean, it seems fine, but it's just odd. If I had a nickel for every time that I saw Poison Ivy on this map, I'd have 2, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Microscopic showed up not long after the patch, and I remember commenting on it, and then either somebody in the YouTube comments or something said something to the effect of, oh, well, it's just, like, they were explaining why. And I'm like, I get it. But I have not seen it since, so we'll see if anybody's games from today have it. Microscopic usage got multiplied by 10 just because of you and Comediante. Fair. I mean, if it was only like 3 before, it's not that hard to multiply it by 10. Ray Chargels. I will be honest, I've seen a lot of Ray in Monster of the Week. I've seen a lot of Ray Chargels. I don't want to say it feels mid, because the modern context for mid is actually subpar. even though mid is supposed to be like, it's just in the middle. Which, in the definition of mid, as in middling, middle, medium, mediocre, it's like, well, maybe not mediocre. Some of those synonyms also have a negative connotation. But bottom line is Ray seems alright. Like, I don't hate to see it. It's a little on the fragile side. It's a little anemic with its damage, even to electricals, but, like, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's just interesting because it does show up so commonly. Alright, looks like our orange player, Marky, here is prepping for that push. In a game, say, where mechs are pretty present, electric gets more use. That is the intended function. And I wonder, because I know Karst has said before, a number of people have said before, myself included, has said before, that, like, the electricals are kind of anemic. And I don't necessarily like the relationship of the mechs get beat by electricals who get beat by, I guess, everything else, which get beat by mechs. That doesn't feel great. But I don't think that the baseline relationships for, like, the phobie types, undead, mech, monster, dimensional, will ever change. So we're kind of stuck with it. And in that case, I think that the electricals could be tweaked to be just a little bit deadlier to... Yo, we get some plaid action. Sniping the cowbell out of the gate. What's funny is, like, any other phobie just about is kind of trapped there. It's going to take forever to, well, take, like, a full turn of movement. You can, like, get this guy ready to go just by next turn. Like, yeah, you're still going to have to spend a turn of movement, but with everything else, I guess it would be a turn and a half sort of thing. Speaking of Akira, dropping it on the board is Shinra. Look at that guy. He's booking it. Doing his best Sonic impression. Gotta go. Why isn't... Why is Plaid not blue? Imagine if Plaid was Sonic the Hedgehog blue. How sick would that be? Yo, Devs, we got the abilities renamed on Frosty and... Who was the other one we got renamed? Frosty got Freeze Ray. Oh, and Hercules. We got the name. Can we change the color on Plaid to be blue? Sonic the Hedgehog blue. Just gotta go fast, baby. You know, I never saw the Sonic sequels. I kind of want to see them. I thought the first one was pretty good. It's pretty well done. So yeah, the dynamic duo, the dastardly duo that is Akira Tractor. Thanks, I hate it. Oh no. Not like this. Wait, there's a Knuckles show? You know the Family Guy meme from, like, season 1 or 2? Where, like... Oh, maybe it wasn't season 1 or 2. It was one of the early seasons where, like, Peter falls down and then he just grabs his knee and he's just like... that is this right now. Every time. It's just like, yikes. Also, I noticed that I'm saying yikes too much in real life, so I gotta reel that back in. But yeah, I didn't even know there was a Knuckles show. I was completely unaware. So here's going back to the Ray Chargles thing. If Ray gets buffed so that it can one-shot Sentinels, or the Sentinels get nerfed so that Ray can one-shot it, are we happy with that? Like, is that game state better? Also, I don't know what our orange player does at this point. They have to, like, hard commit, but because of the geography of the map, they kind of can't, because they have to funnel in through a choke point into this minefield, and by the time they do, all the cooldowns are going to be back. So, like, they're just dead, right? My main problem is that the mechs are the only family in the game that have a tile who doesn't affect them, poison disease tile. That Russells start to become more and more concerning for the health of the game, and that there's so much more mech in the meta. Electric phobia usage gets heavily buffed. Like, are you concerned about the electric phobies thing, or are you saying the electric phobies thing is a byproduct of that? Because it kind of is the result of that, right? Like, I don't inherently have a problem with anything the devs did with the phobie types, or families, or however you want to put it. Where, like, okay, well, mechs are immune to stuff, and they also, they have more health, and, like, all this other stuff. It's just the way they decided it. I think that it does weird stuff, and does cause some problems if you want higher diversity in phobie usage. Because a lot of the time, it really does come down to, like, well, why would I do this when I could just instead use mechs? Yikes here. Yikes! This was an Akira pull that was almost literally a 9-key shove shark. That's what this amounted to. This was a 9-key shove shark. So you could gonzo that attractor. I guess you could have done it with a ray or something too, but like... GG, yeah. The dastardly duo strikes again. I've always said that I don't care that there are certain phobies that get used way more than others, or that it's effectively only a subset of the game gets used, and some are... Like, I don't know how many are... Because what are we designing the game around? Are we designing it around tournaments and Monster of the Week, essentially? I'm going to use that as the example. Or are we designing it around ladder? Because ladder is a disaster, and it almost doesn't matter, except in this context. And we've had this conversation a million times. When you get, putting aside the fact that you get a new phobia and you can't use it for like 84 years. If it's a niche phobia, you're less likely to level it up anyway, because you want to level up your main player. So therefore, they get less use inherently. So then they're also not going to be good in their niche, and it all comes back to this being a problem with the economy, and not the problem with the balance of the phobia usage. Because I think a lot of the phobia balance, like usage balance, gets solved if you fix the economic problems. If for no other reason, then people will care less. It's that simple. And at this point, we've beaten this drum so many times that, like, it doesn't matter. I don't think it's ever going to change for a lot of reasons, but we have beat it to death. All right, we're back on Coin to Me, Koro versus Shinra. Let's see what they got in store. No notes for this one. Oh, there are. New opener unlocked. 4.5, though, since it was kind of the second Akira activation. Oh, for the cost? That's fair. The Leela opener! Yo. Let this man cook. Let this man cook. What do I think about a tile that had the similarity of poison/disease to not affect a family mech by having a version of these tiles that only one family survived? Like a tile only undead ignore, one-dimensional. You can only ignore one monster will ignore, just like mech are the only I'm fine with that. The entire purpose of the tile... Okay, so I'm lumping the tiles in with the geometry of the map and everything to do with the map. Hard health, size, keys, everything. Like, if we suddenly had small maps with big key amounts and generation rate, or big maps with small ones, like that sort of thing, all of that to me lumps together in what are we trying to push the players to do on this map? Like, what is the whole point of the map is to make you adapt to your strategy. The problem with all of it is that becomes an issue with low-level games. For all the shrieking at me that I got, that I don't care what people who aren't good players think, like, I do. And I care about what happens to those players, and it is important here that we don't overdo things that are going to cook low-skill, low-rank players, low-collection players, because they're going to get cooked by some of these decisions. So we're getting kind of an aggressive invade from Koro here to smoke that one key. Like, I'm not gonna lie. What was Koro's plan here? Because I'm not a high-ranking Phobies player anymore. But the last I checked, trading Snowball for a one key and then having to do, like, a full-on hard retreat is not what you want to do. I think it would be cool since it's kind of weird that only mechs have maps where they're favored by not being affected by these. I expect we're going to get, like, an electricity tile at some point. It's weird that we haven't at this point, almost. Alright, look, Koro's sticking it out. They're saying, you don't have... Alright, you got the firepower. This was a bad idea. Honestly, abusing a special tile like disease is a bad idea for a map. What do you mean? Dude, I don't... What are these trades Koro is taking here? Like, I'm not... I guess it's still... It's Hevo for Hevo, but, like... I think you have a Charon that is precariously positioned, and they have a Leela that's actually, like, Leela is a decent threat on its own. Like, it's not a terrible damage dealer if you walk into it. The thing is, low-level players are experience away from being good players. Catering the game to those people that aren't good also hurts bad players long-term. Yes and no. Most people will never become good players. Most people will not become good at most things. Like, that's just a life thing. And I'm not trying to, like, direct that specifically at you, Atona, but, like, in general, like, me personally, I'm not good at a shit ton of things, and I never will be good at those things. Mostly because I have no interest in becoming good at them. But also because... I may just, like, it is entirely possible I'm incapable of becoming good at insert thing. And Phobies is probably that for a lot of people. And for most people, even if they are capable of doing it, they may not be interested in doing it or have the resources to commit the time and energy to do so. Also, Shinra is suddenly getting cooked here. We'll come back to this after the game, because I think there's a lot more to be said, and this is now like the second or third game we've done this on. Do you even remember understanding what Koro wants to do? Because I don't. Koro is absolutely has activated creative mode every time they log into the game now. Koro's just like, yo, dog, I heard you like weird phobies. I'm not really sure what this freeze was all about when it's literally right behind the Puff. Which, could you not have Puff bombed there? Did Shinra already... No, Shinra could have bombed here to thaw and then hit this. Why did we disease the AWOL? This thing has, like, -6 health. I don't get that one. Dude, what is going on in this game? This game is like a fever dream. I mean, this is some pressure on Shinra. 5 keys remaining, 0 for Kuro. We will get what's effectively an AWOL trading for the one Speedola. Alright, apparently Shinra's been watching Shadow Force games, because that's a primate number 9. I don't understand why we're allowing it to get diseased, although I don't think it matters at this stage. Notably, also, Temptress. I do think people, the usage of Temptress here, I think, was almost explicitly to try and annoy me, personally. I'm not ignoring the conversation in chat. Well, I am, but only for now. I will come back to it after the game. It's just, there's too many things to say. So one Leela trap went off, and it hit a mech? There's Tooth Fairies hanging out on the bottom. I mean, Kuro in shambles, throws in the towel, GG. That game was weird. I mean, like I said, I like the Leela opener, because I think it's cool. I don't know that it was good here. I don't know that it actually made a difference. Admittedly, Kuro responded well and just went mech, so it kind of blanked the whole thing, so I don't know. GG. Alright, so. Tiles, we'll start there. Master Dark said abusing a tile that only affects part of the game roster is stupid, as it implies that if you don't own a good enough part of the non-affected part of the roster, you start with a huge disadvantage. True. Natona says, what is this game about, though? Being in a disadvantage because you don't have a thing is always true. However, that isn't the intent. It is a negative repercussion of that. So in order to make maps meaningfully impact the game, this is the same thing when you talk power creep versus width of the design. So if you picture power creep as vertical, like here's a thing, this thing is better, and then this thing is better, and then this thing is better, versus you go horizontally and like you create these more linear things that they're not better inherently, but it requires a different response. Eventually you get so wide that the response all the way over here versus the response all the way over here or the responses are so wildly different that you then get punished because you don't have access to a thing. Case in point, the maps. And I am of the opinion, I've said it many times, that I think this is going to happen with Phobies themselves. Eventually, the roster will get so big that your opponent has 6 to 10 keys left, and it's your first to act. And if you put something on the board, you will lose as soon as you make a decision. Because then they put a Phobie that is effectively unanswerable, and unless they throw colossally, you won't be able to win. This is almost the Smash Brothers discussion where you end up with like 50 stages and people only play on 7. I don't know why Smash Brothers does that. There were or are stage picks in other games. So like Injustice famously had this because they had uninteractable damage from certain maps because they were like obstacle. Like you could pick up a dumpster and throw it at someone, or a car, or like things in the map. And those uninteractable objects, because they were unblockable, would do huge amounts of damage. So if somebody, in certain matchups, it was like this character couldn't win because they start the game with negative 60% health. And it's like, you could win, but it's, if you assume your opponent is reasonable skill level, you can't win. And you get disadvantaged because you decide to play this phobia and opponent knows the counterplay with abusing a top. Yeah, but it's the same thing, because if your opponent has, like, if you are on a ladder game, and, like, if you and I play, and you put out a phobia, and I go, oh, well, I put out the phobia that you now can't answer. That is not meaningfully different. Like, yes, there was a decision made, but it's not a real decision, right? Like, duh, I'm going to put the best thing that I have on the board. The best thing is the thing you can't deal with. It's the same attractor argument. Eventually, on Lights Out, your opponent's going to play attractor, and you're going to be able to do dick. You're just going to lose. If I'm going first and they put an attractor board on late in the game on the board, I can't stop them. I'm just dead. There's counterplay, and we've debated this for a long time, but realistically, it's verging on impossible. And I think that if you're going to have these other things, this is why I've always said the game is designed under the assumption that you have everything. Even if they know damn well you don't, because the idea is to get you to cough up money and buy packs. That's just the way it is. And if you don't believe that's true, you're just wrong. But, like, and I don't think it, from a game design perspective, I think it's perfectly acceptable to have these limitations, because the economic piece of the game influences the game, obviously, but it is still independent, because if this didn't exist, this game piece thing would be fine. If everybody had access to all phobies in the game at all times with maximum level, or everybody set to the same level, no one's going to complain. Well, there will be, I take it back. People will still complain. But there will be less complaints about, oh, I zoned into the all mech map again, because you have access to it all and the counter stuff. Think of it like, and that's, yeah, Tona's getting at the other point, but think of it like this. Maps promote decision making. You open based on the map, and the opening play, you set the pace of the game. What you're saying is you don't like maps X, Y, and Z because they promote a specific kind of play. Well, you're not liking that kind of play is arbitrary. All maps change the gameplay patterns. They do. And the reality is that that is the angle that people, the devs, are coming at. And I'm not putting words in their mouth. This is just me inferring and assuming that they're creating maps so that you are forced into these unique things. It is a negative repercussion that certain players are disadvantaged on those maps. So, like, that sucks. But it comes with the territory. The alternative is only Fox Final Destination forever. So then, yes, in an ideal world, every map would have every strategy viable, but let's be real. By the map not... Even if the map were completely blank, there were no tiles of any kind, no obstacles, no nothing, that would still influence what things are used by definition, because then you don't need terraformers, or maybe you use terraformers differently. Like, it changes how things work. So then the question becomes, what kinds of play are worth promoting and why? Exactly. Like, that's the big debate, and everybody's going to have different opinions on what is worthwhile. All right, we got 2 more for this event, and then there's like 80 more in the next event, so I'm going to keep going. But we can continue talking about this through the games, because I'm sure we will. All right, we got Marky, we got Kuro, we got Noughts and Crosses. Let's see what they got for us. Yeah, I don't know. To me, the biggest issue is always and forever the economy. Because I think that a lot of people's opinions on how the game is played and how it should be played and what is reasonable and what is not become incredibly different when you don't have to sink thousands or maybe even tens of thousands of dollars in to get everything at max level. You think there should be map bans? I legitimately, honest to God, don't think that will ever happen. Should there be? Yeah, probably. But I think that assumes several different things. All right, Jammy Fish into Frosty is really interesting. So it assumes several things. One is that they're willing to complicate the game to that level. I don't think they are. it's a pooping game. 2, I think you kind of need more, if not all, maps available at all times, which they quite obviously do not want. Which I don't understand at all. Like, they don't have to have a map rotation unless there's a technical limitation. They could just have everything available on ladder 100% of the time. And I don't know that it would be problematic. That is a Grimes. What? Why did that happen? I think it would be good if there was map favoring a precise family of all kind. Like one favoring undead, one favoring monsters. But that's just shifting the issue around that you were raising yourself earlier. That, like, someone is going to be at a disadvantage when that map pool rolls around. Whichever one it is. And even if they're all in the map pool, it's like, oh, well, I zoned into the... Like, it reduces the problem. Sort of. But it doesn't remove it. Another issue with the map ban thing is it will balloon queue times immensely. Like, immensely. As you try to calculate and weight all of the people's decisions of, I want this map more often, I want this map less often. Even if it's just a thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up is the default, and thumbs down is, I don't want to play on this map. So the question becomes, do you eventually say, well, look, you've been in queue for 45 minutes, we're going to give you this map, regardless. And now you're removing people from the queue, so now matchups will be even more mismatched from a level perspective, because it is less likely that you will have someone who's a reasonable level, because some people may not want to play on maps that you want to play on, so therefore you are more likely to end up playing against somebody who is way over-leveled or way under-leveled. Like, I legitimately think they don't want to and cannot implement a map selection system like this. All right, we get the big invade from Koro here, switching back to the game after the... I know there's still stuff in chat about the discussion, but... get the big freeze. We get the old Skinwalker activation. Kuro knows that Marky's going to be coming after him after this dive. The only question is, how many keys can Marky get? Looks like they're willing to just take the Grimes offering. I don't know that it was worth even putting Grimes up there. Like, was that even necessary? Could you not have had the Grimes near the Frosty? Like, did you have to have it there? Or was it just to protect the Jin Sting? I mean, this looks like a very profitable invade from Koro, at least at the moment. Like, that's several takedowns. You still have... Well, you're putting... Like, Koro. Bro, did you lose a bet or something? Like, what is it with you in this Phobie? Why? What is going on? Only 5 keys left thanks to the Frog Monster here. 12 for our blue player. What are they dropping on the board? It's a Shove Shark to start. Foul, huh? Alright, is foul for the disease here, or is it for the massive damage? I want to spam Boggart if I get it. Look, Boggart is hilarious, but is now the time? Phantom! A very late Phantom, admittedly. But the way Koro's positioned is very interesting, because you can get the Boggart diseased, and I don't think there's any way to really punish it. I don't... Like, what is this Jin... Why was this Jin Sting up here? Are you... Like, was the intent here to... Like, was this supposed to be a trap with the Boggart? Because it's not going to work. Because you're gonna attach the bomb to, like, Plaid. You're gonna lose the Boggart, and then... Like, I feel as though this was just a failed bait from Koro. It's like, oh, come get my Jin Sting, I'll retaliate and I'll get you. And Marky's just like, all right, bro. Just like, ow, right in the teeth. Like, I don't know what that one was. Feel like Koro's just random bullshit go, like that in one comic. So we do get the freeze here on Hevo Plaid. Setting up the Phantom, I would assume Skinwalker is live now. Alright, Undying Rage is up. Oh no. Is Skinwalker down? No, not... Oh, no, that's gotta be the ball game. Oh my god. Koro, the meme master here. Look, I think Boggart is hilarious, but I think it's time to hang it up with Boggart. Like, this guy is just... He's not good enough. He's just not good enough. I have to give credit where credit is due, though. Koro puts in the effort to try and mess around with unique stuff. But I really do think Boggart is not good. You know what Boggart needs? Boggart needs like an army of dozers and rusties. I can see where Koro was going with this, because if you can get a good Frosty freeze and then Boggart bomb onto the line, like whoever's in the middle of the conga line, you could actually get a really sick play there. So it does make sense, but I think you need more road cone Phobies, basically. So you can lock them in place to get a good Boggart hit. Because the Boggarts, every time we're seeing them, they're just not doing anything. So, GG. I'm curious to see how much disease tiles actually impact win rates. I'd be willing to bet things like map size, narrow corridors, and boopability impact more games than disease tiles. I would agree that those probably do. I just don't know how you would even measure that. Because, for example, if the players completely avoid disease tiles, you can't go by the disease damage because they're not going to want to step on the disease tile, right? So, like, how do you measure that? You'd have to probably have a human watch the games, which is very difficult. All right, once again on Noughts and Crosses, we've got Claw X versus Marky. Let's see what we got. Please give me Boggart to prove people wrong. Master Dark, I've heard you say that before. I've heard you say that before about other Phobies. Like, we've seen cool Boggart plays, but it just doesn't feel like it's impactful enough for what it does. In almost every scenario, if your goal is to win the game and not to do a meme, I think that you are better off not putting Boggart on the board in virtually every scenario. Now, maybe it's just it hasn't been cracked yet. Like, the puzzle still is yet to be solved. And like I said, maybe the combination of Rusty, some more freeze Phobies, Dozer no rush nonsense. I don't think you really want Dozer. Please, Koro, if you're out there listening, don't go Dozer for the sake of Boggart. Please. Don't do this. But I don't know what else is needed. Because even if you connect with the bomb and Boggart doesn't die, it still only does 1,000 damage. Like, that's not good enough. Claw's cooking. Cooking the snowball. Alright, so we're gonna allow this to... This is still dead, is it not? Chat, I'm getting like a weird deja vu from this game. I'm getting like weird deja vu from this game. I don't know why. Could you not have killed this Jin Sting? And if you could, is it not worth it? Because I kind of feel like it was worth it. I don't know. Freeze with Boggart seems evil to me. I don't know if it's good. Like, I mean, Frosty's good independently, right? Here's the thing. You have there are synergistic parts. But are the parts inherently good enough on their own? Because if not, the combination needs to be exponentially better than the parts in order to, like, be good enough, let alone powerful. Because if we're talking about, oh, well, if they're all just generically good and then they are better when combined, great. They do well, you can do some cool stuff. But if you have junk Phobies and they're only mediocre or like passable when you put them together, that is not good because it's very, not easy, but it's easier to disrupt that than it is having inherently powerful Phobies together. Like, this is why things like Klepto Gonzo are good, because Gonzo's good and so is Klepto. So if either one of them dies or your opponent does something to disable one of them or makes it uncomfortable to use one of them, the other one's still good. If you're doing Boggart plus Dozer, just for the meme factor, like, if one of those suddenly is bad, the other one is just awful because they're not good on their own. By the way, get a little new guy action, a little Sabian action. He's a symbol of justice, in case you weren't aware. Not interacting with disease tiles is as tactical a decision as not getting booped. I guess the question is, if people walk through the tiles like they don't matter, results in deaths that require at least one less hit than otherwise people would purposely avoiding them is more frequent than people. The problem is that I think a lot of people... This is actually a decent brony. This is like a pretty solid brony. Certainly not the best brony we've ever seen, but a pretty solid brony. The problem with the measurement of the disease tiles is people will avoid them when it's actually appropriate to go on the disease tiles because who cares? It's like 100 damage. Pretty basic Master Dark setup? What? I don't feel like these are anything that's resembling Master Dark Phobies. I don't see an Ice Scream. I don't see other meme Phobies. This array is going deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Marky is maxed out. That is a freakish amount of panic points. Or orange, excuse me. But yeah, the problem with the tiles is, like, sometimes going on them is good. Sometimes going on them is bad. Obviously, sometimes booping things is good and sometimes booping things is bad. But, like, I don't know how you measure the impact of the tile. And again, when you're talking ladder games and it's just the aggregate, I don't think you should count... Like, if we're talking about balance, it boils down to what are we talking about. If we're talking about, is this thing too good or not good enough, I think you got to rule out, like, a huge portion of games. Or it just doesn't... Like, you have noise in the sample. Yikes, Marky. Getting cooked here. Although the retaliation here is going to be significant. Because that brony has worn off. Clobby and Ice Cream are specific Master Dark setup. Yeah, but Marky had the Clopster. And obviously there was no Ice Cream. That's why I was like, when you said Claw had it, like, none of those Phobies are, like, ones that you're known for. I remember Ice Cream more than Clopster simply because you were so vocal about Ice Cream for so long. This is a great play out of Marky, getting the Shove Shark. Obviously, Claw was trying to dodge the plaid hit here, but couldn't quite do it. Now they're all up on that team, and there's not a ton of damage on our orange player's side here. Certainly not damage that's in position. Do we not have a... Yikes. No Moffat pole in order to allow the hits to go down on plaid. You wouldn't have killed it anyway. Well, actually, you probably could have. Combination of Ray plus Jin Sting probably gets there. I guess you could run a series of games where you march Phobies through disease tiles with otherwise normal play and see if the disease tile saves it. I mean, you don't have to do that. You can just mathematically figure it out. Like, at the end of the game, did these things live? Or when they died, how much health did they have? If it was last hit plus disease amount, then you know the disease mattered. If it was sub that, then it didn't matter. So despite the solid Brony hit, things have definitely evened out. Ooh, I don't love that, because that means that Ray is dead. Yikes. Dude, Sabian is so fast. You get the Brony, but something tells me that Miss Moffat is not going the distance. Why are there 4 more turns in this game? Probably because only the Noxious can attack. Here's the funny thing, like... Claw can 100% just surrender. Brony literally cannot do damage. Why is this game still happening? It is literally not possible for Marky to lose. Well, Claw's making him earn it. That is, in fact, the ball game. GG. Brony, apparently not as broken as everybody thought, I guess. I don't know. Well, chat, you know what? Believe it or not, that was only event 1. There aren't as many games submitted for event 2. Chad, I'm very excited. Notre Dame lost. Makes me very happy. I love football season. I'm so happy it's back. I'm going to be watching football tomorrow. I'm so happy that Notre Dame lost. Almost brings a tear to my eye. But we'll wipe those tears away. We're going to watch Mago versus a Shinra. You sure about that? I don't know. I'm rather unsure about a great many things. Although that may not be true either, because taking a route around the disease tile could have also caused combat to happen later. It gets weird. Like, it is difficult. So you need to calculate if movement would have allowed you to initiate combat sooner or dodge around a combat. Please give me a Radiator MVP with Oliver. What? I don't know what that means. Yo, is it Poison Ivy week for Shinra? It's like Shark Week, but with Poison Ivy? That would be the worst, right? Imagine Shark Week, but it's an entire week of documentaries and investigations and studies and facts all about Poison Ivy. I do love this, though. We are trapping... We did it, Reddit. We trapped the snowball. This is actually pretty sick. Uh-oh. Wait, is that... Okay, the Poison Ivy's not going to die. It might die to dimensional damage, though. I don't know if Poison Ivy hit plus 1 Cowbell hit is enough to kill the Snowball. But you could always spit on it with the Creep also, and then you could walk the Poison Ivy to safety. Yep. That's exactly what will happen. Very smooth, Shinrod. That's actually really cool. The trap on the Snowball, like, that's a great play. Those are the kind of things that I love to see in these games, where you get these little things where it's like, that's a really impactful thing, because removing that game piece from the board matters and has ramifications and ripples throughout the entire game. I was about to say, please don't kill this Bachelor. Please don't kill the Bachelor. You're going to have a bad time if you do that. You're going to learn the hard way. Some unfortunate lessons there. I'm going to need to take a break after this game, chat. Alright, this is an aggressive creep move. But given the quantity of dimensionals, this is going to be tough for our blue player to try and punish here, I think. Plus, you get the spider back up, so, like, you don't really want to stay here. Creep will effectively trade with the corn, because I don't... Well, the corn may be able to get back to the spa. So maybe the creep is just dead for no reason? You're going to get a yoink, though. Or maybe you're not, because if you go in, you're going to lose that spider on the counter yoink with the attractor. No Shove Shark for either player, so no additional tricks as far as movement goes just yet. Panic Point advantage orange, but it's only a 1-0. And the movement cheating has begun. Or will begin shortly. We get an Akira on the board. So here's the thing. There are 100% more matches that are... there are matches that are changed, we'll say, by the fact that Akira's warm-up is different. From what I've seen from these games tonight, it did not feel like the non-Akira player had a whole lot of opportunities to do anything about it. Okay, we're going to get a counter Akira. So in this case, definitely there are no non-Akira players. But like in the previous ones, the non-Akira players, some of the games went on for a while, like PvZ. This games went on for a while. And like we had that one Akira game where a pull never happened. But the point is, we're getting these setups, and has it materially changed? Because my counter argument to the nerf is this. You have this longer warm-up and setup for Akira, but you can't... Like, unless your game plan was aggressive to begin with, which is very difficult to do, I don't know that you're in a... Like, you're almost never in a position to pressure the Akira player. Because it's always kind of like, you play Akira, and the board is kind of stalemated in a way that you can't profitably rush the Akira or pressure it. And if that's true, we end up in the Akira dance no matter what, where you're kind of just jockeying for position and saying who's going to blink first. And in this case, Shinra is setting up for, like, the big anti-Akira. You got Glob, you got Zappy. You have a panic point advantage, so realistically, our blue player has to do something first. They do have 2 keys remaining, but they're maxed out, so what are they going to sacrifice here? Presumably, they're going to try and inch the corn up to claim that panic point at some stage. So I will point out that Shinra probably shouldn't move the Glob up any further because one more space, and I think there's an Attractor pull play after Akira pull to end up flinging the Glob in the pit. I don't know if that's good enough. Orange just needs to match blue position-wise and sit around. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, blue has to do something. Orange does not. The onus is entirely on blue to find a way to flip the game position at this stage, and I don't know that it is possible for them to do. And this is what I was getting at earlier about... So, Shinra, our orange player, got the Akira down first. Mago was not in the position to immediately start pressuring and, like, saying, okay, you're not going to get a good Akira because I'm on your team and I'm on your ass the whole time and you can't do anything because I'm beating the crap out of your team or I'm pressuring your heart or I have all the panic points or whatever. So instead, they fell back to a counter Akira, which can work. If Shinra aligns improperly, they can just lose on the spot. But Shinra backed their team up with banked keys into 10 keys worth of anti-Akira plays, Glob and Zappy. And like you said, now they just kind of stand there and just don't get blown out. And they're going to take a beating here. Like, this Minotaur actually gets a 4 hit. That's sick. That's pretty sick. But, like, do you even kill anything here? Okay, you get the Akira. That's a big deal. But you pseudo-Akira'd your own... I mean, you Akira'd your own team, but you kind... Oh, no! Here's the other part. You've been derping around, and there's traps everywhere. So, like, yeah. Now you kill the Hevo. The Glob can get the bow mangles or the Attractor. Interesting going after the bow. I mean, you can put a bunch of damage on a Tractor here, and they can't stay. Oh, it one-shots it. Never mind, because it was already damaged. And, like, Mago has now lost. And this is what I was talking about. So, I don't think the Akira response was the right response. I think you either needed to have an anti-Akira team, like what Shinra was doing. Put your own Zappy, your own Glob, stuff like that. Doesn't have to be those phobies. So that when you get Akira'd, you can punish. Or you need to push before that. But I don't think our blue player was in the position to present that kind of aggressive push. So I don't know if it, you know... What are we doing here? Oh, that's how we're going to kill it. Okay. Like, maybe that response was just bad, or maybe there was nothing they could do. I'd like to believe it's not. There's nothing they can do. But that was decisive as soon as it happened. And I kind of feel as though the second that Mago went their own Akira, that they were just toast. There was just nothing they could do. Other than cross their fingers that Shinra made a mistake. Glob and a Contortio. That's one way to end it. GG. And that's the ball game. Shinra taking it down. All right, chat. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back, and then we'll jump into what appears to be the last highlight game. So I'll be right back. Don't go away. All right, we got a quicker one to close things out. We got Oliver in the blue trunks. We got Shinra in the orange trunks. I think I actually pointed the right way this time, and notably also my ad timer conked out. Sure, that I'm tired. I don't care at this point. I don't care. What were the notes for this one? Quick game. Yeah. 18 turns. It's a pretty quick game. We did have some longer ones tonight. This was... So I do appreciate people calling out that they had a lot of cool highlight games, highlight-worthy games. It's been, like other weeks, like I said, usually we'd have to select them or supplement them with, like, I'll go through and be like, oh, well, this is probably a good game. But it's good when people tell me, because then we know that these games are like, oh, there's something cool happens. And I know we were yapping about other stuff tonight, but... so we got a Radiator action going on. Got some Radiator coming out. I know Master Dark was talking about that earlier. I don't know if Master Dark's still hanging out in chat. Probably not. It's probably late. So we pointed out earlier, we do get Ray getting a lot of them. We're also getting a lot of Poison Ivies here. A lot of Poison Ivies tonight. So I don't know if Shinra's on a Poison Ivy challenge, but we're getting Poison Ivy. Alright, sure. I gotta make a note real quick, chat. I almost forgot. I realized that one of the heads for one of my toys is missing because I was swapping them around to try and do stuff, and I don't know where it went, so I want to make a note to look for it later. Not later, I'm going to bed after this. I'm tired. But yeah, so we get the Poison Ivy. We're getting a Speedola out of our blue player. I wonder what the next play will be. Can't imagine. With 6 keys and a blue Speedola on the board? Wait, is blue the 5 cost? Blue's the 5 cost, right? Is blue the 5 cost? Yeah, blue's the 5 cost. Whoa, Ginsting, not a red Speedola. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's not the red Speedola, but you know what? There's an argument to delay the red Speedola. Just always have at least 6 keys, so that way you can threaten the bang, I'm going to get there, and like just explode forward. But you could also just get him on the board. Hematic Ginsting coming down. Shinra being a little basic here. I gotta take this thing off. Cut this off before I forget. If I forget, I mean, I'm gonna go to bed and then be like, damn it, I gotta go back downstairs and get a pair of scissors to cut this thing off. Alright, so we're doing a staring contest for now. Panic point advantage to our blue player. As I mentioned earlier when we were looking at some of these other games, did not claim the bottom panic point. And like I said, this seems to be a more common play among the higher echelon of players, just to march up to the top as fast as they can and threaten it, which makes sense. You do have the opportunity to then threaten your opponent's heart. You can just do threaten way more things. Is this a dead Radiator? Okay, never mind. For a second, I thought the Hematic could move up onto the stem and then pop the Radiator, but clearly not. Got 12 keys banked for blue, 7 for orange. Radiator beaten feet backwards. That's a lot of damage on the blue side, not a lot of damage on the orange side. Frosty, the talk of Monster of the Week. I don't know. You'll have to let me know, chat, YouTube. Do you think Frosty needs to be nerfed? I kind of, like, I can get behind an argument that it does. Radiator. Getting sent to anger management, apparently, by Cowbell. Get bonked. Get chomped. Get beat on. They're getting beat on, chat. See, it's silly because it sounds funny and sounds close to something else. They're getting beat on. Sparky supplementing the team, and yikes, this Frosty is without many friends. 13 keys to 10 remaining. There's the other half of the Speedola duo, but like that's not cutting it right now. You can't, without a Shove Shark or other displacement tool, you can't get a good Frosty here. Is Frosty even getting an attack here? Or did that have to move? Did Frosty miss an attack? No, it was up one, right? So it had to double move to that position? That sucks. That's a yikes moment. That is a yikes moment. Whoop. Knocking stuff over, chat. No! Making another note for editing so I can remember certain things. I still haven't edited the clips from last week's. I gotta remember to do that. I have it on my list. I just haven't gotten around to it. Sizzle! I'll be honest, you probably don't even need the sizzle. It's 2 Phobies. Well, you got 5 keys. They still got 5 keys, but like half the Speedola team is dead now. There's like no good freeze. So you're gonna freeze Sparky here, which is probably the best option. Yeah, that's a dead Gravedigger. That's fair. GD down. Going for the kill on the Speedola, I mean, this makes sense. It's just eliminating pieces from the board. Should be able to reposition this Gin Sting too, right? Yep. You still had keys for Puff? I mean... That's not good. That's not the position you want to be in as our blue player. Tell me the Sparky lives through all of this. There's no way, right? Really? Oh my god. Yikes. This is just kind of an ass whooping. Not, again, the person who's on the losing end of these exchanges, I'm never trying to beat them up, but like, whew, that's a yikes. That's a yikes. Hey, the ad thing came back. It is what it is. Well, those are all the games for tonight. If you're interested in Monster of the Week, where you can play in some Phobies tournaments with everything set to level 1, no entry fee, and you can win coffee just for showing up and playing, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. Link, of course, is in the description alongside all the other links, and that like and subscribe button. Just getting that in while we can. But that's going to do it for tonight, because I'm wiped. We got viewer games tomorrow. We got more Phobies. We have Space Marine coming up. I'm excited about that, and we got toys to talk about. We're going to close it out. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time for more Random Thoughts.